Family, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys clicked on this video because it just looked interesting, first and foremost, welcome. I really appreciate you guys giving us that chance and that opportunity to give you some entertainment today. Today is going to be a reaction, just so you guys know, but I do want to say big shout outs to every single one of you guys. We're almost done with the 7 songs from the individual artists. This last one was V. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. The last one's going to be Jungkook, so stay tuned. We're going to get that one done very, very soon. And then we're going to start moving on to the projects, which is the albums, starting from the very beginning. So it's going to be literally, album per album per album per album. And then eventually we're going to go to the individual artists' albums. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a good journey. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you guys have any type of video request, please, please, please send them to me through Instagram. I think that's the best way that I'm able to get the links and just quickly add them to the watch later for us to have ready. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys can do me a solid, and if you guys have Instagram, make sure you guys follow us and send us all the DMs through there. It is a little bit faster. What else? 2026. We're going to be doing live streams. We're going to be doing a lot of different content. So hopefully you guys stay tuned and enjoy these things with us, because we're going to try to implement different things in order to give you guys our own entertainment. We do like to do reactions, but we also want to make videos, that we talk about, our personal life and just our growth and the things that we do every day to try to get better. So if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, stay tuned, because that's going to be pretty dope. Today we got another video from Boracity magazine. If you guys don't know, her link, all that stuff, all the information is going to be in the description below. So make sure you guys support her. Let's get her to 100K. You know what I'm saying? I feel like she has a very underrated channel, and she should be at 100,000 subscribers by now, because the type of information and the journalism that she does is really good. And that is the video. Well, she's honestly my source to learn about what's going on with BTS. Obviously, all of this is already old, but as a new army, I kind of took that initiative of trying to learn about them, from before. That way, in 2026, when they come out, I'm more updated with what's going on, and I even know about them in the personal level and the things that they've gone through and just things like that, So I'm very, very deep into this game right now. So I'm super excited. Today we're going to be checking out the BTS 2025 contract renewal. Didn't come out of nowhere. So as we know, they're going to be coming out March 2026. So it's about to be a movie. There's already speculations. There's already, big things that are happening, that it's going to be, out of this world. The Billboard is going to get ready to get a new #1 in March of 2026. So I'm super excited. Let's go ahead and check this video out. Shout outs to her. Like I said, I am trying to follow her on Twitter. That way I can see, up to date what she's been talking about and all that stuff. And, but little by little, we'll get there. We'll get there. All right. We're going to get there. All right, let's go.
All of the BTS members just signed their third contract to continue being part of BTS as a 7-member group under their label Big Hit Music,
Let's
part
go.
of Hype Corporation. If you don't know, BTS...
Sheesh. Their third contract. And honestly, I've seen some comments. See, this is how much information I like to read about. I've seen some comments that I guess BTS themselves has said that they are going to be old people and they're still going to be BTS. So people are expecting old BTS. So that's pretty cool.
Group under their label Big Hit Music, part of Hype Corporation. If you don't know, BTS is still a group despite being in the military, and they are currently in their second contract. This third BTS contract starts in 2025. And I'm very happy, but I'm not surprised at all, because the signs were always there. When BTS announced that they were going to start their mandatory military service and focus on solo music, it was so easy to assume that it was the end. And I understand this coming from people who don't know much about the industry and BTS's contracts, but when it comes from people who actually work on media, it was frustrating to see that there was so much misinformation and nonsense predictions being pushed around by them.
The boys of BTS are headed in different directions.
I don't know if I think they're gonna come back.
BTS just revealed some major news, and it's not smooth like butter.
I love and I'm saying I love in a contradicting way how all of these titles are so misleading. But I feel like it kind of doesn't make sense for them to say things like that when maybe they didn't know that they were going to have music while they were in the military. And maybe the music didn't come out yet. But I feel like if the music was already coming out little by little, or individual projects were coming out little by little, I had a feeling that they should have kind of got the gist of it. Because, I mean, let's be real here. Like, having a plan like that is not that hard to think about. Let's be real here. And I don't want you guys to come after me either. I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying it just makes sense that if you're going to stay as a group and you're going to be a group for the rest of your career, it just makes sense to, while there's a time span where you're not going to be around, to continue pumping that content. It's like for us, when we would go, let's say on a 1 week hiatus, I would always tell my wife, hey, let's record a week's worth of content. That way, while we're not recording and we're not here, there's videos being dropped every day. And that's what we were doing. At one point, we were dropping one video every single day, sometimes 2, 3. And that's just what the pattern was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying it's not hard to think about that situation when you're thinking of a time span like that. But for them, it seems like it's like out of this world, and they can't believe that they're back in as a group. When it's like, bro, of course they were gonna be back as a group. What are you talking about? It's BTS. They're not going nowhere. It's crazy.
Like, maybe it's time to move on. The K-pop supergroup broke.
Know if I think they're gonna come back.
BTS just revealed some major news, and it's not smooth like butter.
I hate that one. I'm sorry. I paused it there again. That was the worst one.
Back.
BTS just revealed some major news, and it's not smooth like butter.
Like, maybe it's time to move on. The K-pop supergroup broke hearts around the world, announcing they're going to take some time to focus on solo projects. Their management says it's not a hiatus, so kind of sounds like it. I mean, I guess all good things must come to an end, right?
Billboard
Is that what their company said? Because I doubt that's what the company said.
even had an article in 2022 titled BTS hiatus didn't come out of nowhere. These were the warning signs. Allegedly, one of the writers even took out his name from the writing credits. Could it be because he realized that these predictions made no sense, or was he afraid that he wouldn't be able to interview BTS once they reunite? I don't know, but what I do know is that these kind of predictions are now 100% denied, not only by ARMY and BTS, but also by an official legal document. Let's see why the BTS 2025 contract renewal didn't come out of nowhere. These were the obvious signs the industry tried to dismiss.
The company behind Korean supergroup BTS is not just a record label or a management company.
I want to talk about the importance of this contract, not just about the fact that they are signing with HYBE. However, I know that there are people asking themselves, why are they signing with Big Hit and HYBE for a third time when they obviously have quote-unquote better opportunities with major international labels?
I think the simple answer to that would be the loyalty, because HYBE has been there for them for the past 2 contracts. So why wouldn't they continue to grow with HYBE? You know what I'm saying? It just makes sense. It's all about the loyalty, and that's gonna really help them flourish into even becoming bigger than what they already are.
Some people even say that it would be better for them to create their own label, like other K-pop idols do. The answer by some armies would be that Big Hit is BTS's label, and HYBE is
Yeah,
BTS's
that's
company,
true.
because they built that company from the ground. When BTS started, they were the only group sustaining that label, and it's thanks to BTS and BTS only that the label is where it is now. In return, the CEO gifted big stocks to BTS, so even if they leave one day, they will continue making money from other groups signed to the label. But if you don't buy this maybe sentimental and dreamy idea, let's talk about the other options BTS rejected. In my opinion, no matter which label the BTS members choose, they're not going to be able to manage them 100% correctly, because no label has had the experience of successfully managing a group this big. If BTS signed with UMG or Universal Music Records, which is the biggest and most powerful music label in the world, the label will continue with some actions that go against BTS's philosophy, like payola, overworking and over-controlling artists,
Yeah.
and underpaying musicians. This can be good for their numbers, but this kind of shady stuff can create allegations and other legal problems.
And I like the fact that they absolutely should not come to this side and mess with these big companies, because they're so corrupted, and I feel like they would have so much of an like an anger towards them that they would eventually try to shelve them, or because they're getting older or something, it's like, let's just shelve these guys. And then next thing you know, they can't even legally pull out music anymore, and that happens to a lot of artists. It's insane. And then that's how you start hearing about stories of artists that have been signed for. There was an artist, okay, let's put it this way. There was an artist, his name was Hobson, from the San Fernando Valley in Van Nuys. He was signed to Ruthless Records, which is Eazy-E's company, which after he passed away, his wife took over. So he was signed after from to her and Ruthless Records, but he was shelved for years and years until finally that contract broke, and then now he was able to do it. But then it's like you lose that momentum, and you literally lose, because no one knew about him at all. He's still underground to this day. He's not as big as he should have been, because he's a really good artist, but it's pretty crazy to see that if this was to happen, which I really doubt it will, because come on now, like, why would they want to make a move like that when they really don't need to do that? So I hope they stay with Big Hit, to be honest.
And they will definitely not
Hype,
help
I mean.
BTS's longevity.
That's one thing that's one thing I need to work on. I keep messing up. I call him Big Hit, Hype, Big Hit. Like, golly.
Patience and other legal problems, and they will definitely not help BTS's longevity. Think
Facts.
about the Western artists who have multiple legal battles with their own labels, preventing them to release music or leave the label. Others
Facts.
even have to re-record their discographies because they don't own their music. So what about creating their own label like some K-pop idols do? When K-pop idols end their 7-year contract, it's common for them to create their own label and have the freedom they didn't have under their previous contract with a K-pop label. However, since these artists are promoting in South Korea, the best case scenario for them is finding promotion opportunities for themselves inside South Korea. But the kind of promotions that the biggest group in the world requires are more than a new, inexperienced label can provide. Even if they get the best CEOs in music to work with them, the BTS members would have to go through the struggle of finding and working with experts they don't know and they don't trust.
Right.
So they chose Hype, the label which made them debut and which knows BTS's style of working and promotion demands. Beyond this, the BTS members are business majors, and it's been reported that they already have a strong voice in the agency. RM has even made presentations challenging the company's projects and has successfully stopped them. I believe this is why their contract negotiations always happen years earlier, and they come to a conclusion 2 years before the start of the new contract. This is not common in K-pop. Groups either announce that they are renewing their contracts a month or two before their previous contract is about to end, or they continue negotiating months after their contracts already ended. But by looking for a conclusion 2 years before the next contract is about to start, the BTS members have time to consult their lawyers, talk between each other, and tell their demands to the label. Actually, they were not shy with their demands for the second contract, which is the one they're currently signed to. This is what BTS told Hype during negotiations for the second contract. We will give you 7 more years, but give us the acknowledgement that we deserve for the success that we have achieved, and reflect that in the contract. This negotiation happened in 2018, when their highest peak was number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, when they had no Grammy nominations, and when they spent only 2 years in the global music industry. But now, the BTS members have 8 number 1 songs, 5 Grammy nominations. They made billions of dollars not only for their small independent label, but also to their country, and they have solidified a legacy for over a decade. So if they had high demands then, imagine what they were able to agree with this third contract.
Oh my god. If we're pocket watching, which means we're looking at how much they're gonna make or gonna be making, we're talking about, they're probably billionaires by now. I'm sure they've been billionaires, but that's about to roll over to some incredible amount of money. Because just think about it this way. Not only is it going to affect all of this, right? Because yeah, the new stuff is going to be, refreshing. It's going to be new. But people that haven't, let's say, or stopped listening to BTS, once they come back out, they're going to go back into the old catalogs, and all those numbers are probably going to double, triple, because of the nostalgia. It's like, oh, damn, this is their new stuff. Let's go back and listen to the old stuff. Or it could be people like me that just discovered them about 2 months ago. And on some real stuff, I'm putting up some numbers, like listening to their stuff, because it's like a constant everyday thing. So I could only imagine the stuff that is going to come out, because it's not only with music. They have, brand deals and whatever deals that we don't know about. Like it's a lot. Is really a lot.
Actually, this contract required board approval, which means that the terms are above the regular threshold.
Wow.
This is unusual, and it can suggest that this new deal will give the BTS members bigger cuts, shares, exclusive rights, or something extra that the board had to approve. Only the down payment is estimated to be over 3 times what it was with their second contract. This is not the total they are getting for the entirety of the contract. It's just a small initial payment.
Wow.
And of course, you would need to add all the money they will get when they actually come back in 2025. So yes, this contract is massive, probably the most important of their careers yet. The magnitude of this news were confirmed by RM, who as the leader of BTS shared a snippet of the contract on Instagram, followed by BTS Army 2025. In a celebration of the contract renewal, Big Hit donated $750,000 to BTS's UNICEF campaign in the name of Army. So now that I talked a little about the basics of why they chose to sign with HYBE, I'll talk about what I actually wanted to talk about, which is the importance of this contract in itself. Because if you really think about it, there has not been any other contract like this in the history of music. Don't think about BTS re-signing with HYBE. Think about what the existence of BTS as a 7-member group for approximately at least another decade means to pop culture.
And this is just yet another accomplishment, another threshold, something that will be written in the history books of these 7 guys that came from nothing to become the most popular, the most amazing group of individuals that have ever made music in Korea. Whew.
방탄소년단 방탄소년단
방탄소년단
방탄소년단 방탄소년단 축하드립니다.
First, we need to contextualize the first 2 contracts. BTS started as a hip-hop idol group in the K-pop industry, and in this industry, most contracts last 7 years. This is of course if the group is successful, because if it isn't, or if there's any conflict, the contract ends earlier.
Wait, Boys Day, 1 day? Wait, these are contracts that have ended? Oh my god. Boys Day, their contract ended in 1 day. Solia, 5 days. X1, 4 months, and so on and so forth. That's crazy. Hey, but you know what? This just goes to show that not everybody is meant to be at the top. It's like, if you want it, you really want it. And obviously the boys wanted it, so that's why they are where they are. Let's be honest here.
However, even in the best case scenarios, successful groups will disband in their 7th year. This is why the K-pop 7-year curse exists.
Wow.
This is what RM said in BTS's 8th anniversary in 2021.
7 years, it symbolizes like an invisible limit for many Korean teams, especially the K-pop groups. The 8-year anniversary is kind of like a really like a momentum, and it's like a meaningful day for a group.
So the groups that sign with their labels for a second time are rare, but they do exist. However, I think it's important to make a very important distinction between BTS and other K-pop groups. To start, many of the K-pop groups that decide to continue being a group beyond the end of their contracts tend to sign with different labels individually, but they come together as a group from time to time, or at least that's what they promise. Because a common trend lately is having a silent disbandment. Other groups that do stay together for years and years have so many members that it's inevitable for all of them to stay in the group. But I don't want to be unfair. Of course, there are some K-pop groups that stay together for many years. The longest running K-pop group has been together with all of its members for more than 20 years. And while I congratulate them and hope for a similar future for BTS in terms of number of years, the reality is that BTS situation is different and way more complicated.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's kind of hard to, and it sucks, to kind of not being able to compare because there is no comparison because we're looking at something in a bigger scale, the global scale. So if we're going to compare, the guys that were together for 20 years, I mean, it's amazing, but the small scale that they were, and I'm sure, I'm sure they were big in Korea. But let's be real here. I don't even know who they are. I'm sure you guys probably do or not. I don't know. But it's a very different, very, very different situation when you're talking about some global icons for real.
Because there's no other group in the history of K-pop that has been able to truly pave their way in the global music industry.
True.
So as annoying as it can be to the BTS members, their decisions and future are of the industry's interest. Thousands of articles are made for every decision they make, and their contract renewal, disbandment, or any tiny decision by them will become international news, reported and analyzed for days, weeks, and even months.
Wow.
This doesn't happen to K-pop groups, because as legendary as they can be to the K-pop sphere, their disbandment or renewal will have almost no effect in the global music industry or their country's economy. BTS being signed as a 7-member group to a Korean label means more tourism, more South Korean recognition internationally, and even more jobs for South Korean citizens. My point is that BTS signing not a second contract but a third contract is extremely rare in the Korean music industry because no other Korean group has grown to the lengths of BTS to even think about making a decision this big.
And I really hope that people get to one day realize what history is playing for us, because in all actuality, we need to understand we're living in the history. We're living in something that we're going to be able to tell, our grandkids or even further down the line or they're even going to be able to see it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like this type of stuff does not happen. It's not easy to come across. And it's almost like one of the once in a lifetime things where if anybody else is going to do this, it's going to take years for someone to come and do the same thing or upscale what BTS has done, because in all actuality they've surpassed some of the United States greatest like the Beatles, like so on and so forth. They surpassed all of these people already and they're so young. So just imagine the capability, just imagine what they're going to bring to the table as we're approaching 2026. It's about to be a movie. It's going to be crazy. Oh my gosh. We're living in true history right here.
Beyond that, groups that do become relevant in K-pop don't stay together for more than one contract. Sometimes because when they get what appears to be bigger solo opportunities, either from Korean labels or international labels, they take them. That's what I find extraordinary. BTS plans to stay together after their military service no matter what. Hype's founder recently said that the BTS members wanted one of their first projects after coming back to be a special project related to their album trilogy, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, whether it is with Hype or with any other label.
And as you know, in 2015, BTS released its Hwayeonyeona, or The Most Beautiful Woman in Life, album and the album series, and this was a very important album series for them. We said to each other, let's make sure we put out a 10-year anniversary album and a project. If they hadn't signed with us, they still would have released it, just not with us. They would have done it with somebody else.
This special project was already kind of announced by Suga and RM in 2022.
저희끼리 얘기했던 것 중에 어쨌든 2025년 대부분의 멤버들이 복귀할 해일
Oh my
거고,
God.
그다음에 이제 화양연화라는 저희의 기념비적인 어떤 화양연화가 10주년이 돌아오니까 그때는 무언가를 할 수 있을 것 같죠.
So it would be
화양연화가
April 29th of 2015. So technically that should have happened April 29th of 2025. So does that mean that maybe this is going to be 2026 now? Did it happen already? Or am I like missing something here? Hold on. No, wait. How can it happen already when they're barely working on stuff and their big comeback is 2026. So there's no way this happened already.
돌아오니까
Okay.
그때는 무언가를 할 수 있을 것 같지도 않을까 뭐 이런 생각을 했었잖아요. 그것들을 좀 잘 지키려고 노력하는 화양연화라는 저희의 2025년 대부분의 멤버들이
Would be the year of most of our members to complete their service.
해일 거고 그다음에 이제 화양연화라는
And it's also a monumental year.
기념비적인 어떤 화양연화가 10주년이 돌아오니까 그때는 무언가를 할 수 있을 것
We're probably going to be able to do something 10-year anniversary of the album. They probably could come back.
같지도 않을까 뭐 이런 생각을 했었잖아요. 그것들을 좀 잘
I think we're going to try and keep that promise.
지키려고 노력하지 않을까.
So whether the
Okay.
media wants to admit it or not, the biggest sign of this contract renewal came from the members themselves, because they are not going to promise things that are not going to happen. They know that each of their sentences can and will become global news.
Yeah.
This is why they always negotiate and come to a conclusion years in anticipation. This prevents all high tensions and speculations by fans and the media about their future. Again, this is an extraordinary measure that BTS takes because of their position in the global music industry. Most groups that do sign a second contract do it a couple of months before their first 7-year contract ends. Others keep negotiating after their contracts already ended, leaving their fans and investors of the label basically in the dark about what will happen. Now you may say that it's responsible for groups to take their time in negotiating these contracts, and I totally agree. But it's important to know that BTS always does what's beyond considered responsible.
Yeah.
And that's another obvious sign the media try to dismiss. BTS doesn't wait until the end of their current contract to consider signing again. Instead, each of the 7 members take decisions together by consulting their personal lawyers 2 years in advance. They carefully think about and plan their future together. And this is a unique measure only BTS takes because of their unique position. So I don't want to hear any more comments diminishing the importance and uniqueness of these.
People acting all dramatic about BTS extending their contract while there's a whole Shinhwa, Brown Eyed Girls, Super Junior, and TVX
contract,
I don't
because
know what that
other
means.
K-pop groups lasted for decades too. When the news broke, some articles focus on how rare this type of longevity is in K-pop. It's rare, it's defining, it's a new standard set by them, and they are right. When it comes to K-pop contracts, the chances of disbanding are infinitely higher than the chances of making the group their priority. But BTS showed from day one that they are the exception.
Ladies and gentlemen, BTS.
Sheesh. And that says a lot, man. That says a lot. Because you can tell, honestly, from the Bangtan videos. I know we haven't seen many of them yet. We still gotta check out the third one. But you could see from a lot of those videos where you get to see them be themselves, the brotherhood that they're building since the get-go. Because someone is not going to mean to you as much as the person that's been through the mud with you. Somebody that's been growing with you. Somebody that's been there for you in the lowest times where you didn't have enough money to, even split a meal type thing. And that to me is like extremely beautiful, because we all got that significant other like that, you've been through something and it's hard to, let's say live life, but together you guys make each other complete, and with them, you could see that since the jump, that's been something that they focused on, like whether they had to, all sleep in the bunk beds and whatever. At the end of the day, Their top priority was making sure that everybody was good, their brotherhood was strong, and they worked their ass off to achieve all of these things that they now have. So for that, such a beautiful thing, man. Ooh,
So that
that's my
was in the
song,
context
Boy With
of
Love.
K-pop contract.
Hey, man, you know what's crazy? Real quick, that just reminded me. That beat right there, Boy With Love, just reminded me. I'm not gonna lie. It's just a little side note. 2 days ago, I was feeling down. Because, it's been raining, and then I gotta go to work, and I hate, like, the feeling of having all this rain gear on me and working outside and being soaked all day long. All I did on some real stuff, all I did was like, you know what? Let me switch my mindset real quick. I prayed about it. And then I went to BTS and I'm like, okay, what song should I play first? Boy With Love. And it's such a good vibe. That song is such a good vibe. That's one of my favorite songs, honestly. I know it's one of the most popular ones, but that song right there means a lot to me because, honestly, I think I even wrote it on the post. I even said something about, or did I? I don't remember. I think it was on X, actually, because I did write on X once that listening to that song brightened up my day. And I just continued the day on as if, since the beginning, my day was bright and good. So that's such a feel-good song. And that beat right there just reminded me of that scenario. So let's listen to it again because it's a good song.
BTS.
So that was in the context
Fire.
of K-pop contracts. But Western contracts are another world, and Western group contracts are even more complicated. The global artists that have long-lasting music careers tend to be soloists, because it's easier for one person to make what they consider the best decisions for themselves.
True.
But when a group is successful, they all have to take decisions together, and the chances of being able to do that for years and years is very low. Of course, there are legendary groups that have been together for decades. Coldplay is the closest example to BTS, and by their friendship and the conversations they had during the days BTS started their talks about their future, I think that BTS is looking for this longevity. I don't think it's a coincidence that both groups got closer to each other during this difficult time. So it's definitely possible for BTS to take a similar path. But I still want to highlight that BTS's third contract is not only rare in the K-pop industry. BTS is not only the biggest group in the world, but they are also the only group at the moment able to compete with soloists. BTS as a group are part of the world's top 10 artists. However, the second biggest group in the world and other popular groups cannot even enter the top 30.
You know what's crazy about this? And every time I see this, it's kind of interesting because, yeah, I understand BTS is in the top Billboard charts. And it's funny because I wanted to start doing another series where we react to the top 5 songs of, let's say, I think Billboard started in 1958, if I'm not mistaken. Because I looked it up. So it started in 1958. So I wanted to start doing the top 5 songs of 1958, 1959, 1960, and so on and so forth. And then my curiosity was like, okay, let me look up, top songs from, I looked up 2018, 2020, like 2018 and so on and so forth. And BTS did not come out. And then I put global and it didn't come out either. So I don't know if it didn't. Oh, I guess here it says number 6, but because I know they had some songs in a top 5 before, so it was kind of interesting that they weren't coming out. So maybe it goes by month, or I'm not sure. I guess I gotta put year. I don't know. I'll look it up or whatever. But I just found that interesting.
This is why this contract is even more impactful than you think. Historically, groups have not been able to succeed as much as soloists.
Yeah, and if you notice here, none of these artists right here are a group. Oh, she did write that only group. I just wanted to make that point, but she beat me to it, I guess. But I didn't even notice that. But that is true, though. It's literally the only group in the top 10. A lot of groups don't survive. We said this before on this channel where, we see groups, but because they're not closed as a unit. It sounded like I said closed, but I mean closed as a unit. That they wouldn't be able to survive these trials because they were probably put together with auditions when BTS probably was the same way. However, they really lived together from the beginning to where they are now, you know? So putting them together and having them build that bond is something that you can't really manufacture. You know, it just so happens that by faith and by just good vibes, I guess you could say, that these seven guys were that cool with each other that they really grew into an amazing and solid friendship. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty dope.
Think about the groups that were able to actually compete with solo artists, from legendary bands like the Beatles to pop culture boy bands like NSYNC and One Direction. They only lasted for 10, 7, and 5 years respectively.
Wow.
So as the one massively successful group at the moment, it's remarkable and extremely rare for BTS to enter their second decade, because this never happens when your group is at the top of the world.
Wow. So is she saying that second decade, so this about to be, wow, so that's another thing that they broke in history, and it continues on wow. Gotta give it up for that. That's amazing.
So if this third contract is so rare, weren't the predictions of dismantlement by the media not that unreasonable? Like I said, I understand if this comes from people who don't know much about the industry, but the ones who make these articles are supposed to be K-pop journalists. They should know that their military service was inevitable, but they also should know that at this point, they don't promise things just to calm fans. They've never done that, and these journalists ignore this fact purposefully, in my opinion. For every journalist and fan who has followed BTS's career closely, this contract renewal should not be a surprise. Why? Because they've promised it would happen knowing that their country is looking at them. Because
I have received screenshots and headlines of articles. Oh, he saw them. Okay.
BTS always.
Oh wow, that's a whole letter from RM.
Because they've promised it would happen knowing that their country.
And this is from 22. I saw screenshots and headlines of articles, and there were a lot of stimulating words like disband, hiatus, and etc. It's not like it was an unexpected, but it feels bitter. It is not like we were hoping they, journalists, would watch our show filled with tears and laughters till the end to write their opinions. But Fiesta Dinner is a casual type of content, and we date it was released when it was released 6/13, and the symbolic meaning of that date is completely okay. So they always do things with the symbolism behind it, and I like the fact that they keep their word too. That's very important for us as fans to trust them, because do you know how many artists have said, oh, I'm gonna do this, and they end up not doing it? There's been plenty of artists like that, and honestly, those type of artists sometimes just go on in the wind, man. They're outskis, but this group right here is not like every other group, and we need to really push that and let people know that this is not a group that is in it for just the good looks. It's not in it for just let's make history but not care about my fans. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, there's a lot of even local artists. They don't care about the fans, man. They don't care about the fans. And it's like, at that point, you need to care about the people that are supporting you. Because if you don't, your career is not going to go anywhere. You're not going to become something that you want to become, because you're already dissing the people that show you that love on a daily basis. This is insane. Super insane. I don't understand. And like I said, I've seen this even with local artists, where their head gets a little too big. Next thing you know, they slowly start to fade off. And in our reality, no one's going to feel bad. No one's going to feel bad because you turned your back on the people that were supporting you. And for that, they're really going to let you go and just let you go off in the wind. But these guys right here, they're the real deal, man. I'm going to take the time to read this letter later, only because it's interesting to me and I like to read things like this just so I have that knowledge. So whenever I see something that reminds me of this letter, for example, in the future, I could always be like, oh, remember that letter that we read or that we talked about in that video? And that's how I usually do things. If you guys are catching my drift here, I always start mentioning things that we've seen in the past Boracity videos, or or if I see some symbolism in the music video, I'm like, oh wait, we saw this in the Boracity video, and things like that. So for that, you know what I'm saying?
Is looking at
Let's
them
go.
because BTS always negotiates 2 years in advance because they've never lied about a project coming out, because they've spoiled in 2022 their plans for a project in 2025.
Okay, so that's one thing I am kind of interested in, because they said 2025, but I know their big comeback is 2026. So maybe I'm missing something. Let me see. Maybe I am missing something, because if that's the case, then they should have dropped something, right? Or I wonder what happened. There has to be a reason why it didn't come out. Let's see. A little quick search real quick. Oh, I put my computer starts to bug out when it starts to get hot, so if it slows down, I do apologize. Okay, let me see. BTS is expected to have a comeback centered around a new interpretation of their most beautiful life, and potentially focus on growth in their life. Yep. While a full group comeback was anticipated around mid 2025, plans were for a more grandful return following of the members' military service, and recent reports indicate 2026 is the comeback. Okay, so it had to do with the military and why they couldn't get this, which I am so sure that they're so heartbroken for that, because that date, April 29th, 2015, I'm sure meant a lot to them. And but it's okay. It's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, there was nothing they could have done about it. So regardless, we got to be okay and happy that they're all together. Everything went well, and we're just excited to see them come back, But now we got the answer. Let's go.
Not because they've spoiled in 2022 their plans for a project in 2025, and you're still surprised that they renew. You still ignore all of this and choose to predict their breakup. You are delusional, because no other group does this stuff. So there actually exists uncertainty with them, but not with BTS. And you know this. You're supposed to be an expert on this. You study K-pop. You study boy bands.
Wait. Is she calling this dude out right here?
Actually exists uncertainty with them, but not with BTS. And you know this. You're supposed to be an
Boy band BTS tops US. Okay.
expert on this. You study K-pop. You study boy bands. You study BTS's impact in the global music industry. So if you predicted the complete opposite of what just happened, maybe you should stop selecting only what you desperately wanted to see and start seeing the overall picture. Since the BTS members started enlisting, K-pop's growth has significantly decreased compared to when BTS enlisting. K-pop's growth has significantly decreased compared to when BTS was a 7-member group.
Wow. That's crazy. And look at those numbers too.
Growth has
That's a big come down from what it was. That's crazy.
significantly decreased compared to when BTS was a 7-member group. So every media person wanting K-pop to succeed should have been wishing that BTS comes back, not the opposite. Because as easy as it was for Billboard and Western award shows to create K-pop categories, as easy it will be for them to take them away. We've seen it happen.
True.
It can happen again. So let's celebrate that BTS is the exception. Let's celebrate that BTS is entering their second decade in the history of music.
Once again, big shout outs to Boracity Magazine for this video, informative video. I really appreciate these videos because it keeps me updated and it keeps me with what the media and just the people that are not believers say about, what they have to say about BTS. It's never anything good. Never anything good. They seem not to believe in them. They seem that regardless of everything that indicates that they will have a comeback, that they're going to stick together, they just look away and just want to get those headlines and pretty much downplay who BTS is. Well, I'm happy to say that they will be coming back. Obviously, this video is a little bit older, but I just found it interesting because I wanted to see what the contract situation was about and just everything in detail, I guess, as much as we got of what it came to, because this showed me a lot of loyalty, because I'm so happy that they're the type of people that regardless of, and I'm sure, this is just a switch of thought here. I'm sure that if the company needed them to, let's say, do a contract a different way and explain to them, hey, let's say like a baseball player or a sports person, hey, let's do it this way. You're gonna get your full amount, but let's do it in this way. That way, it kind of helps out the company, and I'm pretty sure they would do that because at the end of the day, HYBE is BTS. BTS is HYBE. I didn't know HYBE to be its own thing until you guys told me the breakdown, until we saw videos of Big Hit, we saw HYBE, and just the different companies that go under HYBE. And just, I would have never known that if I didn't see these videos. And this is why I want to see these videos, because as someone that is not from Korea, this would be honestly out of this world to me, so I wouldn't know what it was. Yes, I could be the casual fan that just listens to their music, that just enjoys their music video, and that's it. But I'm not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not. I'm the type of person that likes to deep dive and really get to know. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. When you guys told me and I seen the first video I ever done of BTS, I really got interested in the fact of what was said, in which was, they like to be loyal. They, came from nothing to something. Let's be real. We hear that all the time. Everybody's real. Everybody comes from nothing. Everybody does. So what got my interest was, okay, BTS is being talked about even by my niece for years already. Years. So what is it about this group that makes them the real deal? So that was my initial thought. So then I did the deep dive. I continued to check out more Boracity Magazine videos, and I started getting that understanding. And not only did I start getting that understanding, I started seeing what they were about, how their mindsets are, how they, push so much positivity into the world, how they try to, do good in the world. And not only just by talking about it, but by doing something about it. Giving to charities, talking about positive messages in their music, talking about all of the things that we're learning about that wouldn't be shown in their music. Because in the music, I would have never known that they've, made charity contributions in which the army matched that amount or that the army makes their own contributions in the name of army for the people. I didn't know that they changed the culture of, let's say, you know, they don't want army to go to show up somewhere just for the safety of others. Army listens. I didn't know that there's, you know, let's say they land in an airport and army has a purple ribbon where it's like they put that purple ribbon and then they allow BTS to go by. So many different things that I'm learning about that is truly, truly, truly amazing. You guys have even told me in the comment section that you guys are some of the ones that when you guys go to their events, their concerts, or anything BTS related, you guys like to give things away. Like, how is this even real? You know what I'm saying? And that's all because they are the definition of, we're not going to talk about it, we're going to be about it, you know? And that is one of the strongest things that as a musician you can do. Because like I said, everybody comes from nothing. Everybody's real. Everybody gives charity money. Everybody does this, does that. But do they have that connection that BTS has with their fans? Absolutely not. And this is one of the reasons why this group right here, one day, 100 years from now, when we're not here, no one's gonna be here, this is gonna be, all of these albums, all of the art that they've made, it's gonna be in a museum one day. They're gonna go down in history as, let's say, a Michael Jackson, even though they already surpassed Michael Jackson from some of the stats that I've seen. So in order for us to see that kind of stuff, it's like, you gotta understand, MJ was a global icon. He had people fainting in the crowd of his presence. Let's really think about that. MJ, top tier. BTS has already surpassed him. They're in their 30s. This is gonna be, I'm honestly, oh my God, I don't even know how to expect or what to expect in this comeback, to be honest. This comeback is going to be something that is going to be talked about for years and years and years, you know? And I'm pretty sure that it's going to be the type of comeback that it's going to get a lot of negative publicity in the beginning, just to downplay it. But once they come out and they give us all of the bangers that they're going to give us, we're going to be able to see what it truly is to be at the top in the global scale of musicians. It's going to be crazy. I'm super excited. If you guys are excited about it, please let me know in the comments with a trophy and a purple heart. This is about to be an amazing upcoming year. Everybody should think of it as, if they're going to do something positive and something out of this world, we should all follow up and do something for ourselves in our lives to get better next year. You know what I'm saying? 2026, we're planning to do a lot of different things on eFamily. We're planning to up the scale, up the production, get better camera, everything. Everything's going to be crispier. Microphone, we're finally going to probably get another one. There's a lot of things that we need to do in order to succeed even more. And I'm glad that you guys are going to be able to witness it, because just like they do, low key, if you really think about it, here I go. See, I think what I need to kind of let you guys know too is when we do reactions, I say reactions, but it's more of a commentary, because everything that we see in these videos, I start to implement into the things that we have done and how we've been moving for the past, couple of years. Because when we started recording in 2018, even before that, but 2018 was officially the first reaction of music. You can see in those past videos the, you know, us living in one room, literally one room. The background is all messy. We literally had, you know, the headphones that are wired and we had them plugged in. It was the humble beginnings. I still have the first camera right here. I still have the first camera we used to record with. It's dead now. It doesn't work. But this camera right here was literally the first camera that we used to do all of those old reactions, the old vlogs we used to do back in 2018. And it's been so much, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what you guys are going to be able to see with our old videos too. It's like we have a track record, we have receipts of everything from what we've done since the beginning, how our mindset was in those times, to what it is now. And you guys could even see, you know, like the growth that we were starting to take, the different avenues we started to take. We would listen to music that was almost sad, and we kind of even said it in those reactions, like, hey, you know what, like, these songs are a little too depressing for us. We need to switch it up. Let's look for something. And we said these on video, and it's recorded, and it's on YouTube. And little by little, we started, you know, implementing positivity into our lives to the point that we're in now, where this past year we started doing live streams, and we were talking about, you know, growth spiritually, mentally, loving yourself, and just trying to better yourself every single day with every single action that you try to take. See, everything that we try to do is like try to change one day at a time with one little change that you could do. And like I said, the days that I'm feeling down and I feel like, you know, I'm like tired and all of this stuff, I really do pray. And then I try to switch my mindset and kind of talk to myself about, you know, just living in a more positive atmosphere. That way my day is smoother, and I've learned that that really does work. So with all that being said, this really touches my heart, because I'm able to see, like I always say, the outcome of just moving in a positive way. And it's not impossible. We get to see it in a bigger scale, that it's not impossible. It's not always about, you know, being fake, lying to the people just to get clicks and views. It's not about the drama. It's not about any of that. If you're able to find the people that you align with, if you're able to, you know, be yourself and interact and, you know, find the people that understand you to a deep level, then you're going to be okay. But until then, it takes time to find those people. And that's what the whole journey is about. You know, the whole journey is you're going to do X amount of work until eventually you find the people that you're comfortable with and you stick with your people. And that's why I always said I have the track records. Everybody has an audience. You just have to continue to look for them. And when you find one, don't let them go. Appreciate them to the fullest, because at the end of the day, the reason you're doing what you're doing is because of you guys, for example. You know, and it's the same way with them. They appreciate every single person that supports them, because they understand that the reason they're in the position that they're in is because the fans that they have, they're loyal and they're willing to do anything and everything to make sure that they never fall. They always in a good environments and good terms to try to be better every single day. You know what I'm saying? Oh, computer went black right there. My bad. But yeah, so with that being said, I went on a crazy tangent, but I just needed to get that out. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I say that these videos are more commentary based than reaction based, because we get to really hit on some points that I feel is helpful for all of us, you know, because these are the points that we try to implement into our day-to-day basis. And why not share it with the same like-minded people that are struggling through something, or they're trying to overcome an obstacle. And if we already overcame it, why not give you guys that knowledge to, have you guys go through that path a little smoother, So if you guys enjoy these kind of videos, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, make sure you guys hit that like button, follow us on Instagram, send us links there and all that stuff that you got of the stuff that you want us to react to. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.